So here we go again, another quotation by McNeil. He's not just quoting the Bible, he's actively engaged with it. He's interpreting. He's making it relevant to his own experience. He's making it relevant to a wide audience.
My Lord.
So you see, that now that points to the fact that now he wasn't just a lyricist.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can just imagine when he goes in the Bible and he reads something, like, you know, if this is to be believed, which is not hard to believe this.
That's no reason to doubt it.
He was juxtaposing his own realities, maybe his personal realities,
Right.
but also probably the reality of a friend.
Right.
You know, something him see with his own eye.
Right.
You understand me? Because, you know, we can feel what each other feel through
Right.
association.
Yeah.
And he's now going in the Bible and probably reading about all the great men of the Bible and all the people mentioned in the Bible. And I said, but hold on. Same thing. And like we said, there's nothing new under the face of the sun.
Under the sun, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he could easily have even been imagining himself walking in biblical times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Being used by God.
There you go. Easily. All right. Oh, I know some Christians seething now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you have to give honor where honor is due. I mean, the impact that the man had, and when you listen to the lyrics of the song, they, you know, they move you.
Yeah. Now, he was the apostle of the Rastafari religion. Marley also made something else relevant to a wider audience. The Rastafari religion, yeah. No musical figure has arguably done more to popularize a religion than Marley. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
A religion, you know.
Yeah.
Not the religion.
A religion. Than him. Musically. So you think of all the religions you can think of.
Right. No man has taken a religion and has made it as popular as Marley.
Right. Wow.
Imagine.
Impact.
All right. His beliefs revolved around Rastafarianism. But in the years since Marley's death, his religious and political beliefs have been sanded down, reduced to a fuzzy, marijuana-inspired haze, called for one love, one heart, one destiny.
It's deeper than that.
It's way deeper than that.
Way
Come
deeper,
on, man.
Yeah,
And here's the thing now, and this is where I get into me now. If in your head somewhere, you can hold on to that, right? And let that be the fullness of your thought process. You need a checkup from the neck up.
Yeah, man, you have to go deep into the man's life to see how he was inspired by the word of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only him, there are so many others around us who have done some, you know, impactful things.
Yeah.
But we, in our critical carnal self, we try to use the things that are not godly of them.
Yeah, that's what you're highlighting.
Yeah, it don't work like that. But the man said, judge not.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us, the only reason why we can do that is because our lives has not been on the big stage like his.
His last song, all human beings were in need of redemption.
Every last one.
That's why none of us should judge.
Exactly.
That's important. None of us should judge because there was only one who walked the earth who was perfect.
Only one.
Period.
All right. Well,
none of us can cast stones.
Yeah, I hear this now. But the Rastafari religion has a much grittier and more defiant edge. Here we can get real now. It was spawned by the tremendous suffering Afro-Jamaicans experienced for centuries. Isn't the Bible the book of truth?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. The slave trade, for example, was even more lethal in Jamaica, where Marley was born, than the deep south of the U.S. More than twice as many slaves were shipped to Jamaica alone than all 13 North American colonies.
Jeez. Most
were tortured, raped, and worked to death.
Wow.
All right? Now, this is according to Adam Hochschild, an author of Bury the Chains. Again, we haven't read anything from these people. We're just taking it from the article as is. He wrote a book called Bury the Chains, A History of the Abolition Movement in the United Kingdom. The Caribbean was a slaughterhouse, he wrote, describing the region's slave trade. The grinding poverty, suffering, and political disenfranchisement of Afro-Jamaicans persisted under British colonial rule.
You took the words right out of my thoughts. Under British colonial rule, I have a cousin in England, and I remember during 16, that all that wild stuff that was going on with the election and everything. He says, "At least we have the Queen and not to be disrespectful. And I said, you can keep her.
But of course, keep all of that.
Who's queen? Who's queen?
Not
These
mine.
people colonized and brutalized their
Literally
ancestors.
raped countries.
Took the wealth, right? Took the wealth back to their nations. And you're telling me about at least you have a queen.
And left these countries in shambles.
Shambles. I have a king I'm allegiant to.
Read Habakkuk.
Yeah.
Read Habakkuk. All right. All right, where are we now? Okay. Marley was born in rural Jamaica to an Afro-Jamaican teenage mom and a white father. Here's where we're getting real interesting now. It is impossible to understand him and the Rastafari faith, which emerged in Jamaica during the 1930s, without knowing the country's violent history. Now, for the Christians who are going to criticize Rastafari and Marley, don't forget that the church was in collusion with the state.
Absolutely.
Throughout slavery, throughout colonialism, even to this day. Which is why a lot of pastors still can't criticize governments.
Right. Yeah, because they're in bed.
All right, cool.
True.
Rastafari is a religion of resistance that blended Afrocentrism, Judaism, and Christianity. Back up. It blended Afrocentrism, Judaism,
and Christianity,
which is of the Jews,
and Christianity.
And Christianity.
Yeah. The Christ.
Where does it come from?
Biblical.
Of all of you locks and imposters.
Yeah.
Watch it. Now, this is said by Deepak Sarma. We understand that he's a religious studies professor at Case Western Reserve University in Ohio. But that we know to be true.
Yeah.
We can speak to the veracity of that. Though it is often categorized as a religion, it is also a revolutionary ideology to right the wrongs of British imperialism, the slave trade, and colonialization of Jamaica and other Caribbean countries. Now, stick a pin.
Reparation.
Yep.
All the stolen jewels, all of it. Reparation.
But hear this now. The Caribbean, Jamaica and the Caribbean were not the only lands that were raped by the British. All across Africa, all across the world.
Yeah.
Do you understand now why Marley's music is global?
Yeah, because what other individual in what other country? Right. You know, I mean, you have all these other you have the continent of Africa.
An entire continent.
Yeah, you have India. You have China.
You have China.
Oh, my Lord. Wow.
Whole swaths of Asia.
Right. And the island of Jamaica.
And the Caribbean. And this man stayed in Jamaica.
Yeah.
He wrote this music for his island, what he saw on his island.
Right, but it
did not realize how it would have resonated across the world.
Across the world. Anywhere there's oppression.
Anywhere there's oppression.
Yeah. The people can identify with the words.
Yeah.
And it has to make them think.
Rule equality.
Yeah. And imagine this. You call them locksters. You have individuals in Jamaica now who claim to be Rastafarian. And you want to fight against Christianity.
There you go. No understanding.
Come on.
No understanding.
Come on.
God sent me on earth. He sent me to do something and nobody can stop me. Marley once said. If God wants to stop me, then I stop. Man never can.
So true.
But we see it.
Yeah.
It's in front of our very eyes.
I mean,
it's in front of our very eyes.
Wow.
All right. Rastafarians, though, are known primarily by many casual observers. Casual observers.
Yeah.
Casual observers. Let's not gloss over that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Are you just a casual observer or somebody who has taken the time to do some research and realize where this is coming from? Because when you sit down to have a conversation with people, it is important to know the background and the full story. That's how you can have full dialogue.
You can't get an understanding without it.
There you go.
You have to do some research, do some homework. Don't just go by what you hear.
Simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
Beautiful.
Now, they are known primarily by many casual observers for two elements of their religion, dreadlocks and the smoking of marijuana. The dreadlocks are inspired by an Old Testament passage from Leviticus 21:5. They shall not make baldness on their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in the flesh. So for you who are wearing your locks and call yourself Rasta, why you wear locks?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the significance of your locks?
Yeah. And what happens when you cut it?
Right. Where did that start?
Yeah. What happens when you shave?
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Marijuana or ganja was seen as a sacrament for Rastafarians to deepen spiritual awareness. Now, we already say what we say about it. We don't believe in taking anything but fresh air into the lungs.
Yes.
Or changing the mental state.
Right.
We already, we deal with that already.
We have.
There you go.
We have the Spirit of God to.
Right.
Yeah.
If there's a founder of the Rastafarian religion, many point to Marcus Garvey, a black Jamaican activist who preached black self-reliance, self-pride, and led to black Africa. We know that was Leonard Howell. We know that was it. So this part of the research should have gone a little bit deeper. But he had the first half of the 20th century, he had that thing. So we can understand why they probably just glossed over it and never did the proper research.
Right.
But of course, I'm sure his work would have influenced also.
Oh, yeah.
It's part and parcel. They cannot be separated.
No.
Right. Selassie is also a central figure to Rastafarians in ways that puzzle some outsiders. How can Rastas worship a black political figure who was also seen by some as a dictator? Well, that is subjective.
Because of his lineage. That's what they're focusing on, the lineage, you know.
And when he was an emperor, he was doing things politically. We know that there's no man who covers the entire political spectrum. He's going to have opposition.
Right.
And if he says this way and you decide it's that way, and he said, no, let's do it this way. Yep, easy for calling him a dictator. So
Right.
Yeah.
But some of these very same people, some of the leaders they're supporting today
are dictating.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Goldman, Marley's former publicist, recalled asking Marley about the wisdom of worship in Selassie. She wrote that he was stunned by her question, asking, so you want me to worship a white god? So where we at now? I know you know this subject very well.
Yeah.
Blue-eyed.
Well, yeah.
Blue-eyed
I mean, it was the backlash was rightfully so, obviously. Right, because I mean, there's nowhere in Scripture that gives credence to the Christ having long blonde hair and blue eyes. See, and that's the issue, and we stand firmly against that. Right, we're not saying on the other hand now that you deify the king of Ethiopia. We're not saying you go to that lens, but I can see why they would say before I do that, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, because remember the question was asked. How can a man worship the God of his oppressor? I
mean, it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
All right.
Interesting, because his father was Caucasian.
Well, that's it. We're getting there.
Oh, okay. Let me not jump. Let me not jump.
Now, the universality of Marley's spiritual message is why it endures. If an outsider fixates on the bitterness of Marley's quote about a white God, it's easy to fall for the myth that Rastafarians demonize white people.
No, Sir Courtney, let me stop you there for a minute. Why, him making a statement like that, why should anybody be bitter about that? That's not a bitter statement. He's saying something that's just, do you want me to worship somebody who is not even listed in the Bible as what you make him out to be, right?
Well, so, the offensive part of it, is we know that what is it that the truth is.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a bitter pill to swallow. There's so many things you can say about the truth,
but not an offense.
Right,
it's not offense. I forgot the quote.
Right.
But it's because it's true.
Oh, okay.
And not only is it true, but it cuts across everything that you have taught. Because remember, you've built your entire life, your being on this particular lie that you've used to oppress,
enslave
others. Yeah. So if the people who are oppressed now see the light, now we see the light, stand up for your rights, then of course now you're losing your edge. You see your power dwindling. So
but you want to project on him as if he's some kind of bitter.
No, but remember what we said earlier with Selassie when they said that some people saw him as a dictator. It's the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't mean what he was doing is wrong. Right. No, I'm not saying that this is the case. I'm just generalizing here. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? But if somebody don't agree with what you said, of course they're going
to find a way to criticize.
Yeah, and demonize you. Yeah, you know.
That's
so,
a better way
but you see, this is the way where they want to say that he demonized the white people.
Nope.
But who's demonizing who now?
Not at all.
Who's demonizing who?
Right. Not at all.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right. So
I'm sorry, the truth is offensive to the flesh and always offensive to a lie.
there you go. Simple. but here's a further truth now that going to hurt them soul. Marley didn't limit oppression to one color.
Beautiful. Right. Right.
So there's no way he could have demonized white.
No.
Because it was one color.
You know what's interesting too? He even called out pastors who were, you know what I mean? Right. So
it's not like this man spent his life hitting against one person or one set of people.
He was against oppression in any form.
Period.
Any form.
Any form of injustice.
By any person.
By any person. Okay. Because he believed in pure liberty.
Right.
Where does pure liberty exist?
Yeah.
In the word.
His foundation was the word.
Where he came from. Right where he came from.
Yeah.
All right. Here's what he said. I can't be prejudiced against myself, he once said when someone asked him if he was prejudiced against white people.
His dad.
My father was white.
Wow. That's profound.
My mother was black.
Profound. Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
But you know he could have easily done it. Because we hear that there was a conflict on his father's side.
Yeah, you made me aware of that.
Because of who his mother was.
Right.
So he could have easily just cast on all white men.
Could have become very bitter and angry.
He could have.
But he didn't do that.
And you know one of the reasons why he couldn't have? See if you can guess and tell me.
Well, I would have to go back to his foundation, the word again.
But that's exactly what it is.
Right.
That is exactly what it is.
No partiality.
No partiality.
Yeah. He was definitely doing love.
Because as our friend Reggae Paul would say, there's no gray area in the
Bible.
Bible.
Area. Right.
We have it on our face and we head, but it's not in the Bible.
Not in the word. Yes,
you understand me? So if that's where he's coming from, and that's his foundation.
Yeah.
His eyes are now opened.
Yeah.
Right? When he flips the coin, he doesn't see head or tail.
No.
He just sees the coin falling.
Right. And you're right, it would have been easy for him to reject based on how, I guess, his mother was treated and he was treated by his father.
And remember now, it's easy for boys to reject their father.
Right.
Based on how they're treated or how they're even perceived to be treated.
That's right.
It's easy.
That's right.
He never did that.
Yeah. Because he stood on the true message of the word.
And when remember, his father being white would represent centuries of oppression that he knew of, that he sung against. But he still never took it there. He never took it personal. He kept it right where it needed to be. Splitting justice where it needed to be split.
My goodness.
To the point where even white people, I have a friend who was married to a white lady, and one night we sat down having a talk, and when this lady was telling us her story, I asked my friend, I said, you sure this is a white woman? Because her story sounded just like the black story. She was from some part, I think, in Eastern Europe.
Oh, yeah. A lot of oppression.
You see what I'm saying? So you see the brilliance of Marley?
That's why his music resonates across all kind of lines.
Which is the point I was making. Not just in Africa.
No.
Nor Asia, where you have the caste system, but even in white Europe.
Listen, he's more popular in some of those areas than areas predominantly black, to be honest with you.
And they spend
Japan?
And they spend their money on this man thing. Yeah, to the point where they want to fight for his collection.
Jeez.
Yeah? Wow. Come on, no man. Now it says, them call me half caste or whatever. Well, me don't dip on the black man's side nor the white man's side. Me dip on God's side.
That's profound.
The one who created me and caused me to come from black and white.
Wow.
Possible. Come on, man. Hold on.
No, that's heavy. That's heavy.
What kind of depth of reasoning is that?
Yeah. Wow.
That's not normal.
Yeah. More. We need more people in the world to think like that.
The depth of that reasoning.
Yeah.
It's hard to wrap your mind around it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're so taken up in the other side of Rastafari, which was more about bashing. He wasn't about the bashing.
No.
He was more about the justice.
We need
so if you're dealing with the justice, it means that the bashing will come from anywhere and it will reach anywhere, because injustice comes from many different places and many different people.
That's powerful what you just read. So he said, I'm not dipping on the black side or the white side. The God who
God's side
caused me to come into the world.
Because remember now, what black and white create. Grey
That's it.
And we just said a while ago. No
That's
gray
why.
area.
That's brilliant. So that's why he's going.
That's why he's going there.
Wow.
No bias.
No bias.
Man.
Yeah,
All right.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Marley didn't just live for his beliefs, he also died in part because of them. In 1977, Marley visited a doctor after noticing a blackened lesion under his big toenail.
Wow.
He was diagnosed with a rare form of skin cancer, which you have a mini story of him being in New York. And
yes, Memorial Sloan Kettering, one of the top cancer hospitals in New York. My mother worked there, and I remember when we were very young, because I came to the United States when I was 10, and that was 72. So when he came there, she came home and told us that Bob Marley's on one of the floors upstairs, and of course, you know, the Jamaican nurses,
right,
I'm sure other nurses too. And they were able to go up there and speak to him.
Wow.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, I've never forgot that.
They were able to go and speak to him.
Yeah.
How much money you think would allow that?
No. My mom said that he would talk to them.
Real people person.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he was down. She told me.
Now hear this now. Yeah. Hear me go anger some people now. Can I draw? Am I allowed to draw a comparison with Jesus here?
He was rejected.
No. Jesus spoke to everybody.
Yeah.
Rejected none.
Yeah. No. And he himself, like Marley, in a sense, was, you know, his birth. Right, how was his mother conceived was criticized. Remember the Pharisees call him a child of fornication, right? His mother was very young. I mean, yeah, you can't. The similarities, you can't, you know, and it's not blasphemous. I mean, the similarities are the similarities.
You can't beat them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
His father, Joseph, was gonna put Mary away. Remember, Marley's father rejected him.
Yeah.
Left his mother pregnant with him.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
The doctor advised Marley to amputate his toe to prevent the spread of cancer, but he refused because he thought it would violate the Rasta prohibition against the cutting of the flesh, and opted for a less invasive procedure.
The cutting of the flesh. Wow. So he really stuck with what he believed. Now that's when you know somebody really believes something, when their life is on the line and they go with what they believe. Wow.
And examples in the Bible. Let's see, Meshach.
Yeah, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, right?
What did they have to do?
They refused to bow.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. That's when you know a man believes what he believes. So, yeah. Wow.
Now I'm sure some people out there calling him whatever they want to call him.
Well, I mean, don't call him anything, because there's no guarantee that if he cut himself, he would have lived, right? Because a lot of these, unfortunately, surgeons, they cut and the person still dies.
It's experiment.
It's experiment. Yeah, there's no guarantee. Here.
There's no guarantee under the knife.
No. He, you know, you have to respect him for the choice he made.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Because obviously, he must have had peace with God to decide that, because his decision was based on something he read in the Bible.
Well, no, but see, you touched on a point, you know. Yeah. You touched on a point. I didn't even think of it. The peace and the rest of God.
Right. For him to say, no, I'm not cut.
He spent his entire life in the Bible.
Yeah.
To the point where he wrote from the Bible.
Yeah.
So he must have found some. You're right. He
must
have found some peace.
This was the height of his fame and popularity. Right? And I think you had given an example one time of his view on like money and rich, what is true riches, right? So he wasn't a vain individual,
he wasn't.
Right? That's why you see the characteristics and the attributes of him. Really, you have to say, boy, you know, God really touched his brother's heart, this man's heart.
Yeah.
You might not agree with a lot of the things that he did or believed in, but you can't deny that the man is at the height of his popularity, wealth, fame, prestige, and would have a lot of years before him, and he chooses, said, no, I'm not going to have my toe amputated. That means he must have realized, okay, the other treatment may not work either, but he had peace.
But it also would be selfless.
Yeah.
Because the average man would be thinking of living longer to enjoy some of the wealth and enjoy life.
Yeah, of course.
Because remember, I mean, you know, like the Rastafari say, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
So true.
There's so many people. I mean, a lot of people are given the option. Most people give them the option to die right now, they're not going to take it. They're going to take life. Because remember, also, he had a lot of children. And we understood that he loved his children. So I'm sure he must have thought about all that.
All of that.
If he got dead, left me pitting them now, and you know, and
but
all of that.
Stuck with what he had faith in.
Wow,
you can't take that away from him.
You can't. That's a different kind of depth.
Right.
A different kind of depth.
Exactly.
Because
you can't argue that.
Yeah, and I mean, even for some Christians who will criticize, what would you do for Jesus? Would you die for him? Could you actually live in a country? You know, you know how many Christians in America, they speak of the freedom and the liberty to worship whenever and wherever. Question is, why are you holding on to that? You know why? Probably because you would not live in a country where Christians are being persecuted. Well, you would have run away because you don't want to die.
Go back to 2020. And the same fear that was gripping the world gripped a lot of churches, and they shut the doors.
Exactly. Some of them still haven't opened.
And what was the fear? Of getting sick and dying.
Sick and dying.
So be careful when you're judging and criticizing. Now that's profound, though. I mean, faced with you know, that dreaded C word, disease, and you make a decision that the Bible says
you're going to stick to your faith.
Don't cut, and you're going to stick to your faith.
You're going to stick to your faith.
You gotta. It takes a strong person.
Yeah, man, it's a different kind of depth. Man. It's a different depth.
Wow.
So let's not call it like the sea eventually spread. He died on May 11, 1981 in Miami while trying to return to his beloved Jamaica for his final days.
Wow, so he never made it back
to Jamaica. But you see that? He knew, okay, all right, I'm on the last. Take me back to the land of my birth. Take me back to my people.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
come on.
Yeah.
Apostle,
listen,
come on.
You know, look, what he believed and stood for, he stood on it. And I can respect somebody like that. Because you have a lot of wishy-washy people out there love criticize and run them out. You understand?
Yes,
but they won't stand really on what they believe.
Right.
The man stand up firmly on what he believed.
Well, here it is. In an interview several years before his death, Marley said a person achieves a sense of immortality by having a right relationship with God.
Wow.
We didn't even get there yet, you know.
Jesus, yeah.
But we just said it.
Yeah. Because that's the key to eternity with God. Yeah. Right. So that relationship now.
Apostle.
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Come on, man.
He was profound, man.
Come on. I don't believe in death, neither in flesh nor in spirit. Death does not exist for me. I truly know God.
Oh my Lord! Wow. To live is Christ. To die is gain. Yeah. The man. Yeah. Again, Bob Marley stood and believed what he read and what he wrote and what he sang about. That's what I'm getting.
I'm looking at the tree behind you.
Yeah.
When the wind blows, the leaves they move.
They move.
But look at the firm. Going nowhere.
Yeah. Right.
Nowhere. And I'm sure it has weathered many storms.
Yeah, man.
Still standing there. Now going nowhere.
The roots. Foundation. Strong. Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
His musical legacy has found an afterlife. Marley's stature on the international stage has only grown in the decades since his death. We know that. It's ironic that Marley, a fierce critic of capitalism and materialism, posthumously generated $16 million through his estate in 2023. Just 1 year, 16 million. And this is according to Forbes magazine, right behind it, John Lennon of the Beatles. That type of immortality, that word again,
Yeah.
Of course, wasn't what Marley was talking about. He alluded to an ever-living legacy. You mean that a man even spoke of his afterlife?
Jeez.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
A man spoke of his afterlife? And we look back and say he was spot on?
Spot on, yeah.
Listen, man. It's the faith of an abandoned kid from the slums of Jamaica who knew hardship and abandonment, but assured his listeners in his classic, Three Little Birds, don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright.
Yeah.
somewhere in the world right now, someone is playing a Bob Marley song to help them get through a difficult time.
Yeah.
The kind that tears a hole in someone's soul.
Powerful
Marley was
article.
right. When it comes to his music and his spiritual message, death does not exist.
Death wears thy sting. Yeah.
Or grave.
You have no victory.
He's more alive today than ever before.
Isn't that amazing?
I remember years ago, you know, me and a friend of mine, good friend of mine, he's now a pastor. And you know, the Rastafarians are still not dead. Man, so Bob Marley not dead. And this man, let me tell you, when this man go into the word, you know, I say, boy, them dead, blah, blah, and we start going and going, and I start look at him and say, you know, you don't understand death. You don't understand death. Yes, they're gone from the physical a long time.
Right.
But look at you talking about them. Look at you getting all animated about them. If that was a dead man, you would not be talking about it.
Right.
Man, not talk about dead man.
No.
At least not with such fervor.
The legacy lives on.
Of course, it's no different from a relative of yours who had an
Right.
impact, or even a friend who had an impact on your life years after their transition.
Yeah. And
You still feel them.
The physical is not the only form of life.
But exactly.
You know.
Remember the Bible tell you, you kill your flesh every day, you know.
Yeah.
You die to flesh every day.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? And if you physically don't die when you die to flesh, you're still here.
You're still here.
So just like Marley said, death really doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But only
Relationship
relationship
because
with God.
that's a boy. I tell you, we're hearing some powerful statements from the late great Robert Nesta Marley. Seriously, and this the gentleman who wrote the article, man.
Yeah.
Put it together.
Well written.
Yeah.
But if as he started out, it was written from a place where he was going through something, then
great
that would
loss.
mean that it was coming from a real place.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more realer than pain, you know,
Especially the loss of a loved one.
of a loved one.
Jesus.
There's nothing more realer than that. So if that's where it's coming from,
Yeah.
then you know that it's coming from a real place.
And you could feel it and hear
You
it.
feel it,
you
yeah.
know. And that led him to look to the word.
To the word.
This gentleman.
Yeah.
See? How can you argue with that? Paul said, whether by contention or otherwise, as long as Christ is preached. That's in the word.
Yeah, but for those of us who, you know, like to listen to quotations, what did Malcolm X say?
Oh, he has so many beautiful
By
ones.
any means necessary.
Right. Yeah.
Who cares if it's Bob Marley?
Yeah.
Who cares if it was Michael Jackson? Who cares if something or someone
If it
led
leads,
you here?
Yeah, it's a good thing that
Of
led
course
you.
it's a good thing. It's
Where
a good
where
thing.
it has led you to is a good thing, because now this man is pastoring and he's impacting lives. The songs brought him through a difficult period now, led him to exactly where he needed to be, and now he can in turn now be an encourager.
Well, this is going to be one for the next vlog we're going to do.
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of people would not want to say Marley because he never professed to be a gospel singer. And he never said Jesus, he never said God like the gospel singers do. So a lot of people will say that and his lifestyle, he shouldn't be revered in such a way. My question is always to them, do you know what your favorite gospel singer is doing right now?
You don't know. You don't know. You don't know.
It's the message.
And his songs are based on the good news of the word.
It's the message.
The foundation of the word is his good news.
It's the message. If you're stuck on the messenger,
Yeah.
you need a checkup from the neck up.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
And if it's something I myself have to learn, then I just have to learn it. It's just the truth.
Only one perfect messenger, and that's the one mediator between God and man, and that's the man.
Yeah.
Christ Jesus, Yeshua, the Mashiach, the Messiah, the anointed one.
Not Selassie.
No. Stick to the message.
Yeah.
Stick to the message.
It's
Stop
just
focusing on the limitation and the humanity of the messenger.
So let me, and that brings me to a question as we close. If you're not able to stick to the message and forget the messenger, can you hate the sinner and love the sinner?
Very good question. Very good question. Well, if you're focusing on, if you're not focused on the message, then you're not gonna.
You have the wrong focus.
You have the wrong focus.
You're being judgmental.
Yeah. Every time you're gonna judge.
Yeah, and what does the book say? You focus on the message, not the messenger.
Right,
You
right,
focus on the sinner,
Yeah.
not the sin.
Yeah.
Because like you said, none is irredeemable.
Right. take the meat and spit out the bones.
There you go.
But it's fascinating that his first song, Judge Not, taken from Matthew 7, I believe you said.
Yeah.
And then the Redemption
song.
Yeah, you could see a journey.
A journey, definitely. A walk.
Yeah.
A walk.
I'm sure in some university somewhere they're teaching Bob Marley and his songs.
But here's one of the interesting thing. I guarantee you that university is not in Jamaica.
Well, that's sad though. I mean, come on. That's sad. That's very, very sad.
For all the things that the universities in Jamaica boast, I'm sure that's not one of the things.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't even think they're teaching Marcus Garvey.
Yeah. Well, listen. Definitely need to be teaching about Marcus Messiah Garvey now. Come on. But you know, it's interesting. You know, of course, you know, people talk about the ganja smoking, and we did a segment on that. But isn't it interesting now that the United States of America, the big war on drugs, many individuals they locked up for trafficking in marijuana, all of a sudden now, not in the federal level, but a lot of states now, individuals can go in and get a marijuana card, right? In New York City, you can roll up a certain right in front of. Isn't that ironic now?
Interesting.
Now it's called medical.
Medical, yeah.
But the Rasta man them was saying from
a long time. Just like the limited, the overall limited, the food, everything else.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It's
now they put medical in front of it now,
because they have to justify.
Because you want to justify it, you want to make money off of it, you want to get the the taxes off it. So now. So, but if it has medicinal properties now...
He didn't have them then?
Right. And you knew it had them then?
Of course you knew.
Right.
Of course you knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Say the hypocrite.
Them I got along, that was Bunny.
No. Okay.
but he was a whaler, so you know, he was a whaler.
All the same influence.
But you know, I was laughing to myself because I heard the plane fly over. And I remember the story when...
The Iron Bird?
The Iron Bird.
Bunny whaler.
Well, I know I saw a performance of him in New York recently.
How did he get there?
I was wondering.
Maybe by boat, ship,
I don't know.
cruise,
banana boat. But
yeah,
banana boat.
Maybe by that time he took it. You know.
Yeah.
But obviously, what's the apprehension must be fear, right?
Probably.
Because if you need to get from point A to point B, and this is the quickest way,
you might as well do it.
You know.
Yeah.
So, Bob Marley didn't have no problem.
Of course. Well,
you want to know why? Because he wasn't worried about death.
Exactly. Man, not only that, he knew also he had a work to perform.
Yeah, he needed to get where he
knew he had a work to perform.
Right. And time was of the essence.
And time was of the essence. Yeah. He only lived to be 36.
Boy, Courtney Wallace Media, like, share, subscribe. Invite family members to view, like, share, subscribe. These are the type of programs that you're not going to get. You're not going to be privy to a lot. So we need you to spread the word. Thank you.
And help us to spread it. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate you. And remember, jump in the comments. Send us a comment. Let's have a dialogue. Okay? We don't want it to be monologue. We want it to be dialogue. Let's talk. Let's put the issues out there and talk. Real issues.
Yep.
But just remember, whatever you come with, when we come, we're coming straight from right here. The truth. And the only truth.
Yeah.
Alright? Thanks for watching. Yeah. Join us again. We have a whole lot more coming as we take a kingdom view from the Eagle's Nest. I'm Courtney Wallace.
Fidel Donaldson, a.k.a. the Bald Eagle, a.k.a. the Revivalist Eagle, a.k.a. the Missionary Eagle. Shalom. Wow, that man, I learned a lot in this segment, brother.
Yeah, man.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, man.
Oh,